Hello, everyone, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everyone, you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, we do go live on Facebook Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Tired as hell. I already read the show notes, and I'm going to be angry as hell.
Fair.
God, it's a Tuesday, man.
Yeah.
Tuesdays are like worse than Mondays.
My work proceeded to continue to irritate and infuriate me today, to the point now that it is irritating and infuriating my direct supervisor, because like I wrote these 4 letters. I'll save it for after the show. Should we just get into some news?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, let's just get into it. 10. Las Vegas.
This was submitted by a lot of people.
Okay, and we'll just work our way through them. Okay.
Okay, this is submitted by Psalm 12, Hate to our Uplifting News.
And this is regarding that there were a lot of people that did a lot of good during the entire incident of the Las Vegas shooting, and this is going to take a moment to reflect on them as well as some of the continued outcry afterwards. So in this particular case, this is regarding a shooting victim that was able to reunite with the hero that saved them, because while there's a lot of people that ran, there was a lot of people that did everything they could to help people.
And sometimes all you can really do is run.
Yeah, sometimes all you can do is run, but the other thing you can do is help someone else run, because sometimes people are too stricken in fear to think to run away.
I hope everyone, after seeing tragedies like this, at least gets CPR certified.
Well, and in this case, this gentleman was introduced to the person that saved him. This is Tom McIntosh being introduced to James Lawson, who proceeded to help anyone he could while around there, including using his belt to fashion a makeshift tourniquet that most likely saved this dude's life so he didn't bleed out.
That's good. It's a good habit to know. Basic first aid, really helps. That's like basic of basic.
Well, and continuing on the train of people that were helping other people, a former Marine stole a truck after the Vegas shooting to drive nearly 30 victims to the hospital.
This is submitted by Angry Chair 88 to our news.
So as soon as he realized what was happening, he immediately ran off and started checking vehicles because he didn't have one that he could get to. And the very first truck he went to had its keys just sitting in the chair. And he's like, okay. And so he grabbed the truck, and then just started finding people, throwing him in the truck, taking him to the hospital, going back, getting more, and just making hospital runs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good on you, guy.
At the same time, I feel really bad for the guy who gets to where he parked his car and is just like, oh, fuck, where's my truck?
Right. Tim says, I prefer the term found a vacant truck.
There you go. That's the proper term.
There you go. It was vacant. It was available.
There's a vacancy.
Joe Rogan is going to be donating 100% of the money from his show on Friday to victims of the Las Vegas shooting GoFundMe.
That's awesome. This is submitted by Trial and Aaron to our Joe Rogan.
The other awesome thing about this is that GoFundMe, so there has been a massive GoFundMe that has been set up, and I will put it both in the show notes as well as into the chat right now. That GoFundMe, which is purely dedicated to trying to assist the victims of the Las Vegas shooting, has hit $4.3 million. God
damn, 4.3 million?
4.3 million.
That's impressive as fuck.
So hopefully that will help at the very least. Nothing can bring those people back, but hopefully it will help people recover, help pay for the expenses of those that are not dead but are just severely wounded.
Help, at least a little bit goes, at least can help you with funeral expenses even, because it's expensive to even get people cremated. That's why my plan is to become an organ donor with the cremation thing, because then they would, not organ donor. I'm already an organ donor. I want to donate my body to science, because when they're done, they cremate you and send you back.
Sure.
That, I think it'd be sick to donate my body to science.
I have not thought much about what I would do with my body after I die. It's not something I've just put a lot of thought into at the time being.
I have. I've thought about a lot of what I would do with your body when I would kill you.
Oh, yeah? Really?
What? No. Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Well, noted. At least I know how I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just when.
Just when. That's the fun part. That's the part that's exciting.
Pro tip. Don't go to sleep.
Also, there has been a lot of public addressing regarding this. I have linked to one of them in the show notes, and that is a 10-minute presentation by Jimmy Kimmel.
And that was submitted by T-Rex is Best to our television.
Jimmy Kimmel was born and raised in Las Vegas, as well as several people on his team, so it struck him very hard when this happened. He spent 10 minutes of his show addressing it. There have also been public addresses from Trevor Noah with The Late Show, with Conan O'Brien. There have been several people that have taken the time to make the statement. And it is both to address what happened in addition to just asking to try to find a solution so that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. 10 minutes, though. That's like what? His show's it's not an hour, is it? It's 30 minutes, right?
I don't know, Jim.
Either way, that's either a fucking third or a sixth, and that's a lot.
That is a lot of his show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that was very close and dear to him.
That's admirable of both him and Trevor Noah and all of these other, talk show hosts and Joe Rogan and everybody, literally everybody who's trying to help.
Thank you.
Even if you've donated like less than $1, at least you're doing something. Mm-hmm. You're donating.
It does a lot more than thoughts and prayers.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I wish thoughts and prayers solved all the problems.
I mean, if you're going to do thoughts and prayers, write them down, preferably on
money.
Couple dollar bills or so, and send it in.
9.
IKEA has debuted an indoor farm that grows greens 3 times faster than a garden.
This is submitted by Mavia to our technology. That's fucking sick.
It uses a hydroponic system.
Hey, I know about hydroponics.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So what it is, it's an indoor farm that uses these shallow tin trays and glass plexiglass to keep everything safe and contained in its own environment, and then uses a hydroponic system with LED lights and a climate-controlled box to grow crops.
I want to see this implemented a lot more places around the world. Put these in, Africa and South America and other places that have hard times getting food.
Well, what's also nice about it is it uses 90% less water than a traditional garden.
Nice! Even though it's hydroponic. Actually, it's probably because it's hydroponic.
It's true, and because it helps the crops grow faster, which means that they don't need as much water over as much time, and because they are with the way that a hydroponic system works, is there's not as much loss of water that is just lost to the ground.
Man, that's fucking awesome. It's because they can recycle that water that would be lost to the ground, right?
Yes. That's
so cool. Also, it's like the Japanese hanging plant farms,
which are also extremely cool.
Mm-hmm. I like this. It's pushing the farming industry to be, I don't know. I guess it might put out some farmers out of their jobs, but if anything, they can start working at these IKEA farms.
Well, IKEA...
Maybe they can get their own.
IKEA itself isn't making the farm itself. This is more like something that you will buy from IKEA and set it up in your home.
Oh, okay, like a mini farm.
Sort of.
Tiny little...
It also won't allow you to completely feed yourself purely with just this system. It's more like a supplement.
Yeah, it's like a little garden,
Exactly. Extra. Some spices, some... What are those called that I like a lot? What are those little sprouts? Some sprouts.
Ah, yeah, sprouts are great, especially in Thai food.
8.
Australia offers to help United States with gun reform.
This is submitted by Dory Lukey to Our World News.
So if you weren't... I mentioned it before that Australia and Japan have very strict gun laws, and the reason being for Australia is back in 1996, a gentleman... I should not call him a gentleman. A douchebag McGee Supreme went on a rampage with a semi-automatic weapon that killed 35 people.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 weeks, I believe, or maybe it's 2 months, very short amount of time, Australia had passed new gun control laws. And how these worked is that it was a buyback program. They estimated there was approximately around 1 million firearms in the country of Australia at the time. Yes, America has substantially more than that, but this is how they did it. They had 1 million firearms, and they offered to buy them back from you. So the government purchased all of the firearms back from its people. The majority of them were destroyed, and now there's just no more, not really just no more guns in Australia. As a result, gun violence has drastically dropped completely. Now, gun violence has not disappeared, but there have not been any more mass shootings.
At most, you'll get, people getting ran over by cars.
Right.
Which you don't really hear of any mass, psychotic rampage coming out of Australia.
No, you don't. And that's because they don't have access to the weapons that allowed people to do things like this. And people say, well, even if they don't sell them, people can still get their hands on them. Yes, but the thing is that in Australia and Japan, where they have took the measures and made the laws to where it is extremely difficult to do that, in order to get even a basic firearm on the black market from illicit means cost normally in the vicinity of $15,000. And that is beyond what most people are willing to put into, unloading onto a concert.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we would be able to even attempt said program because, fuck, we're poor as shit.
Well, it's not just that we're poor, and Tim makes the point in the chat room that is the biggest problem. Australia has 24 million people versus America's 321 million people. They also had, even in that comparison, have substantially less guns than we do. We have guns everywhere.
You can't turn a fucking corner without seeing someone strapped up here.
Well, and it's not just up here, but in most places there's at least a place that sells guns everywhere. A good majority of places sell guns in your local Walmart and Fred Meyer's and shit.
I had just visited a friend last night, and inside of his house there was upwards to 6 guns. Granted, he was a hunting guide, but still.
Sure. And the other thing on that is I understand the goal here, and I do believe that it does work. But I do not believe that it is realistically able to be implemented in the United States.
Not without major pushback. Just the mentality of Americans is so different when it comes to guns.
Sure. With the number of people we have and the number of guns we have and the number of people that are attached to the guns they have, I do not see this being feasible. I understand why you would want to, but I don't think you can.
On the plus side, right? If we did manage to do this, all these guns that are being destroyed, the U.S. can then take all that steel and sell it, and they can make their money back.
I doubt they'd make their money back.
Well, not fully, but you would get a sizable chunk back from just the amount of steel, or at least repurpose it. Send it to Puerto Rico. They probably need it.
They probably do, but I do not believe we will see the solution to this decade.
Mm-hmm. No, I honestly don't see the solution to this in our lifetime, at least in America.
Well, and the thing that, who said it? I don't remember. Jennifer told me, but because the entire Las Vegas shooting has re-sparked the debate over gun control, about should we have guns, should they be so easy to get, how should they be regulated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're saying, this needs to be the point where we talk about gun control, because this has been the most severe mass shooting in the United States. This should be what prompts that discussion, prompts that action to be taken. But in response to that, they said if a mass shooting of children didn't get people to take action, why would the mass shooting of adults make any difference?
Got a very valid point there. Because the Sandy Hook massacre is still talked about as a hoax in a lot of places.
And the parents of those children, whose children are dead, that is an insult to them in every way. But if Sandy Hook did not get people to legitimately think about, consider, and push forward in terms of a legitimate gun control, this won't.
Well, I don't know. I guess we all kind of, as Americans, turn a blind eye to children violence.
We turn a blind eye to violence, really.
That's true.
If it doesn't affect us, we don't worry about it very much.
Shit, the most popular horror movie right now, It, is all about murdering children brutally.
Yep.
So, shit, I don't know. I really don't.
The other thing that I've seen people saying, and I'm not sure how much I agree with it, and is that the people that are saying, don't take my guns, you can't do this, that you're breaking the Second Amendment, blah blah blah, is that they're accusing those people of valuing their guns more than other Americans' lives, which I'm not sure how much I agree with that argument because it feels pretty backhanded.
I'm also going to say it's why we have amendments.
Sure. So
that they're there to amend things that are not correct at that time period or something.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a grisly, ugly, violent situation. I have not been handling it well on my end. So either way, I don't know. Like, I would like there to just be the answer of, boom, the problem is solved, but that doesn't exist.
No, things are not black and white. There's always 50 billion shades in the middle.
Well, and the other problem on that is that, one, no matter what, you can never make everyone happy. We already know that. But the other problem is like, what can you actually trust to solve it? There is nothing, as Tim says, there's no clear-cut solution. Nothing actually you can't diagnose it in one way or another, especially when all of these shootings seem to come from different lines of people and different motives. So you can't target a sect of people and believe that would solve it, because all the shooters have been drastically different.
God. I'm going to say, tell that to fucking the GOP, who's always all like, fucking Muslims.
So, we do need to address it, though. And the reason being is that it happens in America, and it doesn't really happen anywhere else. And
Stop trying to quiet yourselves and other people. Talk about things.
It also continuously is happening more frequently.
Yeah, no, something needs to happen. I just don't know fucking what.
I don't either. So, either way, let's talk about other things that upset us and make us angry, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
7.
Trump says the hurricane that crushed Puerto Rico wasn't a real catastrophe like Katrina.
This is submitted by CGY Flames 01 to Our Politics.
I feel like this is a little bit of taking the words and putting them how you want. So, here's what he said. Every death is a horror, but if you look at a real catastrophe like Katrina, and you look at the tremendous hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that died, and you look at what happened here, really a storm that was just totally overpowering. And then he asked the Puerto Rican governor, what's your death count? He's told him 16 that are certified dead. He said 16 people certified, 16 people versus in the thousands. You can be proud of all your people, all of our people working together. 16 versus literally thousands of people. You can be very proud. And then he continues to talk like Trump talks.
Yeah, where he repeats the same thing 2 or 3 times before continuing.
So I don't necessarily feel like he's saying Puerto Rico wasn't a catastrophe. He was just saying that Katrina was horrible with the number of people that died. But also the other thing to realize is that Puerto Rico doesn't have power. A large amount of people are displaced. They do not have the means to issue death certificates right now. And so the number of certified dead people and the number of actual dead people is extremely different. We have Vivi de la Vega in the chat room saying that the certified number has changed to 34, and I expect that number to keep rising because they can't issue certified death receipts right now.
And on top of that, that's the body count for Katrina after it's all said and done.
Right, and we're still in the middle.
Having problems with Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's going to be occurring for quite some time. So, I feel like this was too easy for people to slam him on, and I feel like most of the time Trump just says what he's trying to say in a really bad way. Like, he
picks the wrong words.
Right, which amazes me because you cannot deny that he has some success in business which requires you to have a level of way with words. Yet he's so bad with them.
I honestly don't understand.
It's confusing by all definitions. Anyway, continuing on. Puerto Rico mayor invited to take part in White House conference call on hurricane disaster effort, but told she could not speak.
This is submitted by Are We Not to Our Politics.
So, the mayor of San Juan, which has been extremely vocal in recent times, especially in criticism against Donald Trump, has been invited for the first time to participate in a conference call with White House officials regarding the response to Hurricane Maria, specifically in Puerto Rico. However, she has been told that she can only listen in and would not be allowed to say anything.
Fuck that shit. God, that's so goddamn aggravating. It's so fucking... Oh, God.
The person that would have the best feedback for you on how and what needs to be done, when and where, is the person that's not allowed to talk.
How do you say "fuck you, you piece of shit" in Spanish?
I don't know. I'm sure Vivi can tell you.
Yeah, I'm eagerly awaiting her in the her answer in the chat, because fuck you, you giant piece of shit.
Well, and this might not necessarily be just Donald Trump. Like, I'm not sure if this is his decision, and it doesn't necessarily say. It just says...
Well, then fuck whoever decided it, because they're a giant piece of shit.
Right. And I'm not saying that this decision isn't scummy as crap. I just don't want to say that it is specifically Donald Trump's decision.
Sure. Still a piece of shit call.
Still a piece of shit call.
It is the fucking worst, stupid-ass goddamn... Oh, yeah, you can totally take part in our discussion. And by take part, I mean shut the fuck up and listen. That's the stupidest thing. Vete pa'l carajo, cabron.
There you go.
I hope I said that correctly, and thank you, Vivi.
Also, in regards to Puerto Rico, Jennifer Lopez is donating $1 million to hurricane relief efforts specifically for Puerto Rico.
This was submitted by Surtur to Our Uplifting News.
Jennifer Lopez, her parents are from Puerto Rico, so she has a very direct Puerto Rican heritage, and she is rather devastated by this. But luckily, she has experienced massive success, especially since she is in her 7th leg of her Las Vegas residency. She has been doing extremely well in Vegas. Since she went into Vegas in January of 2016, her shows have raked in over $50 million.
I mean, shit, who doesn't want to go see taco-flavored kisses?
Nobody. I don't think anybody does.
I would totally watch taco-flavored kisses.
No. You said who doesn't want to, and I said
okay.
no.
Yeah, you're right.
Also, in response to this, there have been several other people that have been reaching out and helped. We already talked about people like Pitbull. Puerto Rican singer and rapper Daddy Yankee is also donating $100,000 to the Red Cross. His co-singer, his collaborator, Luis Fonsi from the very popular song over the summer, Despacito, he is also raising and donating funds to help the cleanup operation in Puerto Rico.
So it seems like the most help is not coming from the government.
Nope.
Their government. The most help is coming from people who feel fucking bad for him.
Well, and several other Latino stars like Lin-Manuel Miranda, John Leguizamo, Ricky Martin, Pitbull, Alex Rodriguez, they have all also in their own ways, whether it's by donating funds, supplies, jets, etc., are also helping out in the Puerto Rican effort.
Not just Latinos. Was it Stephen Colbert in his Late Show said that, and I think he started it. There's a Twitter thing going around. It was like hashtag #PuberMe, and they're posting very embarrassing photos of them while they were going through puberty and everything. And for however many people, famous people, post their pictures of them in puberty, I think it was the Late Show will donate times like 100 to that.
That's ballin'.
Mm-hmm.
The other good thing that we found out quite recently is that finally the USNS Comfort has been dispatched from its port in North Carolina and sent to North Korea. So they have a floating hospital the size of an aircraft carrier that is now in Puerto Rico as a fully operational mobile hospital unit that will be operational throughout. We don't actually have a time frame, but it's going to be there for at least a little while.
Shit, they have a giant-ass mobile hospital. That thing's fucking amazing. Give it, just not give it to them, but like send that shit over there faster.
It's already there.
Okay, I mean, that's good. That's good.
So that is good news as well. Between all of the aid and the help, even if that aid isn't coming from the actual federal government, hopefully we will see enough aid that Puerto Rico can actually recover. Because if they were left to their own devices, they would not.
If those people didn't leave, then they would be starving to death.
Yeah.
Because they just wouldn't have money.
Nope. So thank you to those that are helping, and we'll see what happens next.
Definitely.
6.
FIFA fines Germany for Nazi chants at World Cup Qualifier.
This is submitted by Gerard Slipped, ha 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 ha, to Our World News.
Yep, so FIFA fined the German Soccer Federation 32,000 Swiss francs, which equates to 33,000 US dollars on Monday, because fans chanted Nazi slogans at a World Cup qualifying game in the Czech Republic. They have been fining people all over the place because there have been people chanting gay slurs from several different national federations, Argentina, Panama, Hungary, Chile, Ecuador, Brazil, Mexico. Uruguay was also fined for insulting chants. FIFA's just throwing out the fines. The thing that needs to be addressed here is that German officials stated that the offensive fans did not buy tickets through official channels, so they're not sure how they got them, but it definitely could have been scalpers. The other thing to realize is that Germany has a zero-tolerance policy for anything related to Nazism. If you so much as do a salute, say anything that relates to Nazis at all, any of their chants, any of their sayings, anything like that, if you do any of their chants, if you have any of their imagery, you are arrested. Like, they don't play around at all.
That shit was fucking huge.
So,
I mean, I guess everyone's kind of heard of World War II, but no. I feel like that should be implemented in more places. That's fucked up.
You mean like here?
Well, I mean, not just here, but like, yeah, not just here, really.
Sure.
Just more places. Like, you can't go on the internet and play any kind of game without some little punk calling you a fucking, some racial slur for either a black person or a Jew.
Yeah,
like,
people are aggressive and not in a good way.
And it happens in real life when you're not just on the internet. You can be walking down the fucking road and somebody thinks it's funny to throw their arm out like a goddamn Hitler salute.
Which it's not funny.
No, it's not.
5.
Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump had a third private account.
This is submitted by Goya Bean to Our Politics.
So we had already talked in the past about how both Jared Kushner and his wife Ivanka Trump both had private email accounts that they were using for very, very minimal amounts of official White House business. However, the investigation has revealed that there was a third email account that has hundreds of emails that were sent since January from White House addresses to this specific account. The reason that they didn't immediately see it is because it is not either of their personal addresses. It is a shared account for the entire family. The emails have included non-public travel documents, internal schedules, and official White House materials.
Oh, boy. Oh, that's great. Anything incriminating yet?
No. The family has declined to say what privacy measures were in place on the domain, so we don't even know how secure it was.
And yet, it's so fucking hypocritical.
Yep.
Not just your own personal ones, but a third separate one. It's not just hypocritical at this point.
It's a really sad joke.
Exactly. Just,
4.
Ajit Pai gets a new term on FCC despite protests of anti-net neutrality plan.
This is submitted by CCCPAKA to Our Technology. Is that like Sesesa Aka?
Nathan's so done with today. He's so done.
Oh god, I don't even want to finish now.
So
I'm not saying something because I like finishing.
Ajit Pai, who is the current chairman for the FCC and has been really, really hardly pushing the anti-net neutrality agenda, he's the one that wants to undo Title II, and we've talked about that in the past of what this means for net neutrality and your security, and it basically just opens the door for ISPs to basically do whatever they want. And,
Fuck you.
And including very, very nefarious things. They've said, we won't, but they don't actually have to hold to that. There is no legal basis for them saying they won't. Now, his term was originally supposed to end at the very end of 2017, so here in a couple of months, and in which case he would be replaced with someone else. However, the United States Senate today gave him an additional term on the FCC, which means that he will have a new 5-year term that starts retroactively from July 1st, 2016.
I hate everything about this, and it's going to ruin my teeth.
Yeah? Clenching your mouth?
I'm just grinding them. I'm just so fucking angry. Who Just who the fuck do you think you are, you piece of shit, Ajit? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, people have already proven that he's gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars from the telecommunication industry, so he's someone who's been bought.
Oh, God. This is like that shit you read about in history lessons in like the Roaring 20s and the 40s, where people are just purchasing their own fucking their own way into working in the government, and fucking mobs are strong-arming people to make sure they don't vote. And
Yeah, it's called pay to play, and it's still very much a thing.
Oh, God.
2.
Teenagers with school starting times before 8:30 a.m. may be at particular risk of experiencing depression and anxiety due to compromised sleep quality, according to a recent URMC study.
This is submitted by Mavia to Our Science, and I would like to say it's not just teenagers.
You saying it's everybody?
It's fucking everybody.
Yeah, people are more concerned about the kids, though.
Well, yeah, you don't want them to, get fucked off and die, apparently. Thank you, previous generations to ours.
I guess. So, regardless, it's a pretty limited study. All they did was take 7 kids whose school starts after 8:30 and 7 kids whose school starts before 8:30.
We skipped number 3.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, so we did. We'll go back in just a moment then. Either way, so they took 7 kids, they took 14 kids, 7 that started school after 8:30, 7 that started school before 8:30, monitored their sleep schedules and their health and stuff like that, and then found the people that had to wake up earlier had bigger problems, essentially.
I don't think that this is a problem with the school starting times. It's mostly a problem with falling asleep so that you can actually sleep the recommended amounts.
Yeah, and we've talked about other studies about how something genetically makes it more difficult for teenagers to fall asleep earlier or something like that.
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
You know what would help you fall asleep is actually doing something. Like, I definitely remember not being able to fall asleep very well unless I had done something physical, and then it was real easy to fall asleep because I was tired.
Yeah, also their sample size is pretty small.
Yeah, their sample size is depressingly small. That was not meant to be a joke.
It's pretty good, though.
If you say so. It was... Damn it.
I want to see this done on a much higher, bigger scale with more people studying the variables and shit. I actually want to put a lot of money into this, and I want to see it happen. That being said, it probably won't.
Well, the initial test was done with, like I said, 14 kids. Using a grant, they were able to use an online tool to collect data from approximately 200 students between the ages of 14 to 17. At the same time, that's still not much.
Yeah. Yeah, it is not very much. That being said, I think we should be really pushing the fact that getting to sleep on time is the most important thing. And if that means pushing starting times for schools back, just having them come in later, I don't see a problem with that.
Well, well, first off, there's a lot of wasted time at school. You're taught a lot of unnecessary stuff. So in that regard, there's already problems that you and I have already talked about with the education system in general. 2, Tim points out, try to get into a routine, stop going to bed whenever you're tired. Get a bedtime routine and don't go to bed with your smartphone, because then you're just going to sit there and play on it for a while. And other studies have shown that if you are trying to go to bed, the light from your smartphone, not that you're doing something, specifically the type and color of light that is emitted from smartphones prohibits you from being able to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other thing...
I can attest.
So there's a lot of factors at play here where they're purely looking at just the health of kids and the start time of the school, which there is not enough things being considered in that regard.
Yeah, it's a lot of variables that they're just disregarding.
So at the same time, part of me is like, I remember being a teen, I was depressed and angsty as hell, and it was not necessarily connected with having to get to school at 7:30.
See, my problem is with people who aren't too big into science but see these studies, is that people will latch on to a single study and write it like it's the fucking Bible.
Right.
And they really need to be taking a step back and looking at more than just a study.
They should.
But I mean, people just don't do that.
No.
They don't put forth the energy to do research. Fucking more than half. I'm guilty of this shit too. But more than half the people who see news articles flowing through Facebook don't even click the articles open and read them. They just share it.
It's true. And also on that same note, I mean, do you go with one doctor's diagnosis? Because you shouldn't. You should get a second opinion every time, especially if it's on something important. Also, I mean, we've talked about how some of these studies are literally paid to find a specific result.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I feel like more people need science minds.
Yeah. Or just stop just taking things at face value.
Mm-hmm.
1.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, in regards to Tim, with the work a 48-hour shift that starts at 6 o'clock and then get a total of 6 hours to 8 hours of sleep for the entire shift and then get back to him on that, that's really unhealthy.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen either.
Yeah. I don't feel like that's a good comparison point because that probably shouldn't happen in the first place.
Thank you, Vivi. Vivi reminded me to go back to number 3 since I'm a dingus and skipped it.
Yep.
8.
Nope, that's not right.
3.
There we go. Department of Justice damn it, I can't even talk anymore. Department of Justice releases overruled memos finding it illegal for presidents to appoint relatives.
Just skip 3. This is submitted by Commons Carnival to Our Politics.
So in January, a career Justice Department official declared that the earlier opinions were erroneous and obsolete, and that is what cleared the way for President Donald Trump to start appointing family members to White House positions, such as senior advisor positions for both his son-in-law and his daughter, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, respectively. Now, that for the longest time has been considered illegal. From 1967 onward, it was part of an anti-nepotism law. Now, that was put forth and discussed through several other presidents, including presidents such as John F. Kennedy, as well as Richard Nixon. The thing is, though, is that this is not them saying that it is illegal. This is the Department of Justice releasing the memos that said this used to be illegal until one of our officials said it was okay in January. This isn't changing anything. He's not in trouble. This isn't them this isn't them going gotcha to the Trump administration or the Trump family or anything like that. This is purely them releasing the documentation of information that said it used to be illegal for presidents to appoint family members, and as of January, it is no longer. That's all it is them releasing the memos that show that releasing the information that show that they overruled the decisions that originally made it illegal.
Okay. So it was illegal.
All the way up until...
And then they decided it wasn't.
Yep. All the way up until Trump became president, it was illegal.
Man, that looks really sketchy.
Kind of everything he does looks really sketchy.
That looks really bad and probably shouldn't have been a thing.
Yeah. So...
I'm just saying it should still be illegal. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah, and in the Department of Justice's opinion, at least for the official that overruled it, it didn't need to be illegal anymore. That looks...
Let's start investigating that motherfucker.
It looks shady, but everything is technically on the up and up right
now. How big
now.
Is his bank account now? It must be huge.
Probably, I don't know.
Must be huge.
Huge!
1.
Atlanta decriminalizes marijuana.
Hey, this is submitted by Mr. Putz to our news. Finally, something happy. Ah, this is good.
I mean, the indoor farm from IKEA was kind of happy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that because it was buried in literal garbage.
I mean, and people, helping other people in Vegas is bittersweet. Same with...
Yeah, but it's also buried right there in between a bunch of, really depressing shit.
Like it's also bittersweet. Like, you're like, oh, that's
right.
Great, except for all the bad shit that happened.
Right.
Anyway, so Atlanta City Council Yeah, the Atlanta City leaders is what this says. Yeah, it is the city council, though. You people write this weird. You voted unanimously 15-0 to pass a controversial issue on the decriminalization of marijuana in Atlanta. It used to. So what this is the penalty for being caught with marijuana. So what it used to be, if you were caught with marijuana, it was a fine of up to $1,000 and up to 6 months in jail.
Fuck that.
The penalty now for possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana is a $75 fine flat and no jail time.
That's good. That's at least a step forward. It's not quite decriminalizing it, really, but it's good. I appreciate what they're at least stepping forward to do, and hopefully the rest of Georgia follows, and maybe they'll just get rid of the criminalization of it altogether.
Like I've said before, with the entire marijuana initiative, at this point, it really is just dominoes. And you're not going to be able to catch up to the dominoes if you're someone that wants to try and get rid of marijuana. Looking at you, Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, all the hungry stoners are definitely catching up to Domino's.
Domino's pizza. Oh, anyway. So, I mean, you're not going to be able to stop it anymore. Too many states have legalized it, both medically, and several have even legalized it recreationally. More states are catching on. More for referendums are catching on. Ballot measures. It's just going to happen. It's not about if. It's about when and where now. So, I don't need, and that's literally all it is one more step, one more domino that falls that starts the next one.
I'm really happy about this. I do think we should legalize and tax it overall.
I sure hope Tim is being facetious in his statement of, no, do not legalize and tax that shit.
That didn't pop up for me.
It didn't? Yeah, his very last comment said, no, do not legalize and tax that shit.
I'm having problems with chat.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. So.
No, I think it's a great idea to tax it.
Like I said, I hope he's being sarcastic.
As a person who drinks heavily, I really wish I didn't have to.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't have to, but
you do.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me! Nathan, what'd you care about in the last 24 hours?
Well, I'm going to deviate from what we've been talking about, like, the entire fucking day. And I cared about the fact that set 2.5 dropped for Eternal. So I'm going to be purchasing that. I'm going to play through the campaign and get play sets of all of the new cards. And all of the new cards look fucking dope.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't played that game in an exceeding amount of time.
I understand, and I feel like it's gotten a lot better, especially with the ass loads of new cards that have come out. Like, the amount of decks that you can play is honestly astronomical.
I believe it. I've just not had a card game that's really grabbed me for a while.
I don't know. With Eternal, it kind of makes me teeter back and forth. You look like the kind of guy that would like Shadowverse.
Maybe. I don't know. I got other things to play.
It's incredibly free to play as well, like laughably free to play.
Sure.
And it's got like cute little anime pictures, and I know you like that shit.
I do like that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll consider trying it. Right now, though, I've actually been playing a game called Pyre. It's made by Supergiant Games, same people that made Bastion and Transistor, if you've played either of those. Mm-hmm. Damn, that game is fun.
Is it?
Yeah, it's super fun. It's stupid fun.
I played a little bit of Bastion. That shit was fun, but I play a lot of a little bit of games. I never get to really own games, so I never really get to finish games. And I'm really bad about starting shit and then just never finishing it.
I like to finish games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got two things.
Mm-hmm.
First off, and this is not an actual quote from the GOP, but we're going to go back to a political topic for the time being, and that is that with the statements that are being made from the GOP regarding different issues, they are insinuating that the Vegas shooter's gun arsenal was a right, but the medical treatment for his 500-plus victims is merely a privilege.
And this was submitted by Smith J89 to R. Sanders for president.
And I feel like that's a very important point to make because it makes a lot of sense that you are saying that someone has the right to own a weapon that can kill other people, but they do not have the right to proper treatment if someone tries to kill them.
No. They have the right to it, right? But they have to pay for it. It's not like this shooter has. Okay, I guess they do use a right and a privilege, which is different.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand, but it's not like saying this shooter can go in and get a free gun and then go out and start firing.
Depending on who he talks to, he might be able to. But,
yeah, honestly, I can probably go out and get a free gun right now.
But the idea that because these people got shot, they now have a substantial financial burden placed on them is fucked up.
Mm-hmm. They didn't expect it. No one expected it. And like in shit like this, I feel like all of their fucking treatment should be waived. Not like their treatment, like the medical costs for their treatment,
as well as mental treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Because a ridiculous number of them are probably going to need therapy right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, the other thing that I started to talk about at the beginning of the show, and that is my work, and oh my god, do I just want, like, just fucking table flip. Like, so, to summarize it as best I can, 2 months ago, I sent my supervisor 4 letters to review. Now, I've only been a paralegal since July, so, you know, all of my stuff is being reviewed and stuff right now. So, yeah, you know, that's fine. That's not a problem on my end. So, these are letters regarding the review of reports that people have filed. They're called audit letters because we audited their reports. And so I reviewed them, found these problems that need to be fixed, drafted these audit letters, right? There's 4 of them in this particular case.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just super rigid form letters, using the language that is straight out of the templates that we've used for the longest amount of time, right?
They're about as rigid as I am.
Exactly. And I sent them to my supervisor, and he said, yeah, that looks good. I'll send them to the big boss and make sure that the big boss is okay with them. Big boss sends it back, says, I don't want him using the canned language. I want him to use his own language. And
right. I remember this discussion.
Right. So I get them sent back to me, and so I make a small little tweaks to them to use the official language, but with my little touch to them. Send them back to my supervisor. The supervisor says it looks good. Forward them on to Big Boss. Big Boss says, no, I don't like these. They need to not be anything like the old one, so I get them sent back to me. And I was told to make them more conversational, be a bit more emotional, and be polite, and write the letter as if you were talking to them on the phone. I don't agree with this because we're a state law office. I feel like we should be very professional, but whatever. I'll do my job how you tell me to do it. So I do it, and I send it to my supervisor again. He looks at it, makes a couple small tweaks, and says, these look great, and sends them to the big boss. Big boss responds with, why isn't this letter more professional? These letters are going to very important people. Feel like they should be a little bit more rigid. You fucking what, mate?
It's like when your D&D players are like, "Hey, stop shoehorning us into this campaign, but we also want, we want it to be less open world but more open world in a way." I've had that happen. People were like, "Hey, you need to actually, write some campaign and not wing it, but also we want it to be immensely open world."
So, beyond that though, so my supervisor told me, he's like, none of this is your fault. You've done everything exactly how I've told you. You've done good work, but apparently we get to play this game for a little while. So he's like, all right, redo them. Now, the thing is that both him and I are now getting irritated at this because every time we have to redo these letters were written 4 months ago. And every time we have to redo them, it basically means that no actual work is being done by either of us. Because I am redoing work that has been redone 4 times already. And he is re-reviewing work that he has reviewed like 4 times already.
That's fucking baffling.
What made it
how this is allowed to continue.
What made it even better is that she had the audacity the other day, not to me, to my supervisor, to comment that our section was falling drastically behind on auditing. I will repeat. You fucking what, mate?
Yeah.
We can't do any if you won't let us send any fucking letters. Like,
yeah. See, this is why I hate super micromanaging like that.
It's infuriating.
It should be. You should have been able to send it to your original boss. Your boss been okay, yes, and then you should have sent it out from there. Even with your canned dialect.
Like, so I now get to go into work tomorrow and rewrite again 4 letters that I have rewritten at least 4 times. Again.
I'd be fucking livid.
I'm not angry. I'm just annoyed and frustrated. I'm just like, this is dumb. This is a waste of time. And we have asked, like, well, what do you want? And they won't tell us.
Yeah, I would be fucking absolutely livid.
And then they even told us, like, don't make a template. We don't want you to use a template. We want this to be something that is generated fresh each time. And it's like, we are less than half-staffed, and you want us to spend at least 3 times the amount of time on something that already takes a long time.
That could be reduced in time drastically by just fucking making a template.
By just going click, 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 boo, click, 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 click,
save,
boom.
Here, everyone in the fucking building have this. Take this memory stick and walk around with it.
Yep. Like, I just don't get it. But I guess I don't need to get it as long as I still have a job and still get paid. So,
Fair.
Anyway, those are the things I cared about. Let's get out of here, everybody. If you enjoyed this show, if you get value from this show, consider showing us some value back. Patreon.com/dailyinternet. If you can spare $1 a month, $5 a month, consider it a birthday present, a Christmas gift, whatever you need to. However that adds up for you, please consider sending it our way. Once again, that is patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, if you would like to help or just keep up with the show, please follow and share us on social media. That is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of those are at iReaditCast. You can also find us on YouTube if you want to catch the videos on there. They are also always available on Facebook. You can leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. Also great places to help support the show as it increases our visibility. In addition, if you got a story you would like us to talk about or just something that you want to say.
Oh, Chadwick sent me a story.
Did he?
Yeah, it was a GIF that I had already seen, but it was about a professional runner who couldn't keep his penis in his pants.
Okay, send that to me, and we'll put it in the show tomorrow.
Okay.
Otherwise, though, just send us that to our email inbox, which is feedback.ireadit@gmail.com, or call and leave us a voicemail at 508-738-2278. You can find me on social media at Schwan Michael and Nathan at Bimmenstein, and that is it, everybody. That is your
Except my Facebook. I'm not Bimmenstein on Facebook.
Yeah, whatever. This is your 360th dose of the internet, creeping towards that 365 so that you have an episode for every day of the year. And that's it, everybody. I am Michael Schwan.
What about leap year?
Well, that's just the next day.
Fucking what, mate?
All right, I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everybody,
Don't get eliminated!
that feels real insensitive after Vegas.
Only if you make it insensitive.
I just did. All right, anyway, goodbye.
Bye.